Hey everybody, we're here today to talk about what we played at BlizzCon. It's kind of a weird situation. Huber got sick. We've been experiencing like a wave of sickness within Easy Allies. A lot of people, Brad's a little sick, Kyle's definitely sick.
Kyle Bossman, 0 patient.
Ground zero, Kyle Bossman. But that happens when you're in this close collective. People get sick, other people get sick. So I went up Friday to BlizzCon to play some stuff. You went up Saturday because you were out of commission on Friday.
Yeah.
But you were feeling better on Saturday. So we experienced these things separately. So I don't know how you feel about the things that you've played.
Yeah.
We're gonna kind of figure it out. I suppose we could talk about BlizzCon as a whole, but I really want to kind of focus on the things that we actually experienced hands-on time.
Definitely.
The first thing that I want to get out of the way that we experienced hands-on time with is the new Overwatch hero, Moira. Moira
McTaggart.
Hard not to think of Revelations 2, right?
I think of X-Men.
Okay, I think of Revelations 2.
And both. Think of both.
And we played on the Blizzard World map.
Yes.
So, Huber.
Can we just make this a reality? Can this be the new theme park coming?
When
we
we were
just
streaming
build
it,
this?
I was like, I hope this is just like the first step of a real theme park.
Please.
Yeah.
There was like the Terran Terrace or something.
Yep.
There's like this siege tank, and there was like Snacks Ramus was
Lost
the food
and
court.
Found Vikings. How
Oh,
good is that? It's really good.
Gosh.
Just, it made me realize, so you're standing basically in like this recreation, this theme park version of what is essentially Stormwind.
Yeah.
And just looking around and being like, how cool would this be in real life?
Oh my gosh.
It's killer. It's
10
killer.
out of 10.
And focusing on Blizzard World here, I feel like a lot of times, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is just a Ben Moore problem.
Yeah.
When they announce a new map, there's so many maps, there's so much DLC, there's so much stuff that like I just don't even care anymore. New maps used to be exciting.
Yeah.
The frequency with which maps come out, I just kind of was like, whatever, I don't really process it.
Yeah.
This was so different and fun and cool, and like you just wanted to go around and see all of it, that I was excited about a map in a way that I haven't been in a long time. I don't know if you felt that way.
I felt that way.
Yeah. Give me your experience with Blizzard World.
There were some good, like, blind corners, good choke points.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of the way a map functions,
Right.
I thought it was really, really solid. And then, so, like, the battle would change with each stage as they do in Overwatch. You know, you push the payload, it's a payload map. So we would get to the end, or that's what I wanted to bring up. Okay, yeah, I remember now. So I played it twice, and on both times, I don't know if this just happened because it happened or if it needs a little more balancing, but every time we got to the very end, it was like raw stalemate.
Yeah.
Both times.
I've had that happen a lot on
both teams would push
payload
all
maps,
the
yeah.
way, and then we'd get to the end, and it was just like, bruh. So...
Even, I mean, just multiple times on control point maps, I've had it be like the other team, or we get to 99%, and then it completely flips, and the other team ends up winning, which is both kind of exciting and kind of infuriating at the same time. But you brought something up that I wholeheartedly agree with, where it felt like a good map where it was funneling points of conflict in very naturally, very well, in addition to just having a lot of personality. And I think that's something that Overwatch as a whole has accomplished very well, and this is just kind of a fun extension of that. Does it bother you that, I mean, they've incorporated like other Blizzard stuff into Overwatch plenty. I mean, in the May short, she's holding a Murloc Cup, for instance, and stuff like that. But they've never gone like this far with kind of the Blizzard stuff in Overwatch. Does that bother you from like a storytelling perspective at all?
I haven't put too much thought into it. I would like to know where it falls in line with the lore.
Yeah.
Because they have been so rigid and so committed to building the backstories, building the characters, all the shorts, all that stuff. So are you telling us now that Overwatch exists within a world that Blizzard is in, and Blizzard makes all those games, but like not like
right?
So I mean, I haven't done that much research and haven't dived deep into thinking about it.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think it would really bother me, one way or the other.
I'm kind of with you. They do kind of contextualize it in the reveal of it, where they show the Overwatch characters like watching it on TV. So the implication is that like they are fans of this as well.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I am not in any way an Overwatch lore buff. I would like to know more.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm slowly getting more and more sucked into Overwatch, finally.
Yeah.
But to me, and I feel like they've said this as well, like, part of what makes Overwatch so appealing is that they are thinking about this stuff, that the characters are interesting and have a dynamic to them, that they're not just their weapons or their abilities, that there's more to them than that. But at the same time, like, I think a good idea can trump all of that. Like, yeah, it sounds awesome to run around in a Blizzard theme park. Like, you don't need to justify that.
Yeah, just do it.
It's a fun map. Like, sometimes it's enough. Sometimes we don't need to overthink these things.
It's more than enough.
It's more than enough. And so that's kind of where I stand on it personally. But, Michael Huber, you are somebody that plays a lot of Reinhardt, a lot of Roadhog, a lot of tanks.
A lot of healers, too, in Overwatch.
Okay.
Love healing.
I was not aware of that.
Yes.
I do believe Brad said that you
Storm,
played... you were a great
I love
healer.
healing.
You were a great Rhaegar healer in Heroes of the Storm. Brad was saying, I guess, that you do play Zenyatta, so he did mention that. But Moira, this hybrid support, what do you think?
This is perfect.
It's perfect.
This is exactly what the game needed from someone who is not an Overwatch professional.
Yeah.
Outside opinion here. I don't play a lot of Overwatch.
Yeah.
But from just a gut perspective, gut casual perspective, bringing it to the table, the healers are tricky in Overwatch, right? You have Zenyatta, who's like pretty tough to do that. And Ana, whatever, is like super hard, super challenging. And then you have Mercy, who is like does a lot of healing and can like boost the enemies, but it's like you're not really doing that much as Mercy.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way that I kind of view support in Overwatch is the way that I view like all of the categories, where you have characters that are kind of hard to pick up initially, and then you have characters that are very easy to pick up. Like, I think anyone can kind of understand the basic premise of Mercy immediately, or even Lucio.
Just
like
stick
pretty
to
quickly.
A guy, and
it's like you have this aura that heals, get the people in the aura for Lucio.
And like
for example.
Lucio is tricky too.
But yeah, that's the thing is I feel like with all these characters, they have tools like using the push that Lucio has. Knowing when to do that, you have to be aware of the map. You have to be aware of when you can do that, when the right time to strike is. So they have all of this. They have depth to them. But like Moira, I feel like is more of kind of like a Zenyatta, more of an Ana, where like the kit up front is a little difficult to understand.
So I thought it was super intuitive and super good for like a new, uncomfortable player like myself. I'm not a new player, but I'm uncomfortable in Overwatch. Like I'm not a pro at all. But I felt it got both needs of mine, Ben. It was like, okay, I can go up and I can heal my team.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes you're running, like, sometimes I'll be a Zenyatta and I'll just be, like, out of position. And there'll be, like, two enemies and I can't really heal anyone. There's no one around me. It's like, okay, well, now I'm kind of boxed into attacking.
Sure.
With Moira, I was just like, dude, I can heal. If there's enemies, I can do damage. It felt very flexible.
Yeah.
Flexibility. And it was super easy because the damage suck was like auto aim.
It was.
You just spray it and you're going to be dealing damage. You just spray heal, like super easy to use, felt really strong.
I do agree with you that it was intuitive and that they didn't like over design the abilities of Moira, where they really stuck to like, hey, you've got two sides to you. You've got this damage side, you've got this healing side. And I think just getting into that mindset, it's pretty easy to understand what you can do. Yeah. But I did not find it like easy to apply well. Like you can't just throw out those orbs all the time.
Yeah.
And you have to decide like, okay, like this orb can bounce off things, and so where should I use it to maximize that healing? Yeah. And so I got really kind of overwhelmed with that sort of mentality of like, okay, I can teleport. I've got this quick teleport.
Yeah.
When should I do that? Should I use it to like try to get in a clutch heal? Should I always use it for escape? And so I felt like a little bit swarmed with options because of how flexible Moira is, which I think is a good thing. Yeah. But I always struggle with hybrid characters. I do. I tend to gravitate towards characters where it's like, no, you do this thing and you do it like better than everyone else. And so Moira really is split down the middle. And even with like her damage that you were talking about, the right click, like suck 'em damage, just getting the range down with that took me a little bit of time and figuring out when to apply that. But it seems like maybe you had an easier time.
Yeah, because if you don't know, when you heal, you lose juice.
Yeah.
And to gain the juice, you have to do damage.
Right, that's a good thing to bring up.
So you gotta leech it.
Yep.
What I loved, though, we were doing control points, and when we went in, I would just throw the healing orb, and it would just bounce off the walls, so my team was getting healed.
Nice.
Then when we were pushing payload, it was awesome. I was just camped around a corner, and I was throwing the damage orbs off the ball, ricocheting them in, and it's so satisfying when you see you're doing damage.
Yep.
So I just kept doing it, and they kept going in there and going in there.
Last night I was playing some Zenyatta, and something that I really like about Zenyatta is he can really put in work when it comes to damage, when it comes to kills. That Discord orb is so effective at like focusing people down. But I like a support that feels like they're a threat. I like that, and I really think Zenyatta is that, and I also think that Moira is like that as well. Because throwing that damaging orb at people, I felt like I was really causing havoc in a significant way, and
disrupting them.
Yeah,
they
just
see that thing coming. They're
exactly. And that disruption, I think, is almost like more important than the damage itself.
Yeah.
That's such a good way to phrase that.
Well, then there's the hyper beam.
Right, that was in my next segue.
The nuke.
Yeah. So this was another point where I felt a little bit like because you shoot basically this Kamehameha blast at people, and it both heals your allies and it damages your enemies.
Sprint.
That's what you did.
So healing and damage.
I think there was another one where I was overthinking, and it's like, all right, how much of this should I use for healing?
Just any team fight. I was like, well, my guys are gonna be healed.
Yeah.
There's gonna be damage. Let's nuke it.
Did you find yourself like getting kills from that beam?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Because sometimes when we had the momentum, I would just pop it and focus fire down.
Mm-hmm.
I would just drain them.
So it sounds like you had a really good time with Moira, just personally,
really
and
good
that
time.
this hybrid nature of disruptive damage and healing fits you.
Because I love Zenyatta. I think Zenyatta's kind of like that.
I love Zenyatta too.
Knowing when to charge the orbs.
I think like I really want to main Zenyatta. The thing with me is it's just weird how you just kind of naturally gravitate towards characters, and I really only played one full match with Moira. I got to put more time in. But I found myself like respecting the hybrid nature of her, thinking she was cool, and being like, I'm never going to play you. And it was like a very peaceful, make good on it. Obviously, my opinion on that could dramatically change, but it seems like you're considering like, no, this is for me. I'm all Moira.
Like, I'll never really play Symmetra. Mm-hmm. The teleporter,
I will also never play Symmetra.
Little crazy for my brain.
Yep.
You know, respect it.
Yep.
Nothing against it.
Yep.
Little much for me.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I liked it because it was a healer in your face, but you could also be tactical with the orbs. Mm-hmm. You could stay back with the orbs, kind of range it, chuck them in. But then if you want to get down and dirty, you can go in and do some quick heals and damage.
I remember, and I think I still might feel this way, I remember when Ana came out and just how impressed I was with Ana on every single level, from character design to kit, and just like how crazy different she felt as a support compared to all of the other supports in the game. Just immensely impressed. And I still think Ana's like the top for me in terms of that.
Yeah.
I very much respect where Ana or Moira is coming from and where she slots in. And like, yes, people are saying like, oh, she's got Symmetra orbs. Oh, she's like kind of a mismatch of all these characters. And I think if you want to be absolutely reductive about it, you can. But as I was playing her in kind of the sense that I think you were conveying, it was like, I can do so much in any given time, and it feels exciting and it feels flexible in a way that none of the other supports or other characters quite are. And so I think Moira like slots very, very well into this cast.
Yeah. And I think healers always need hope in shooter or competitive games and MMOs. I feel like you can always give healers a little extra bump because a lot of people want to do damage or tank and be on the front lines.
Yeah, and
I feel like there's always looking for healer. Let's go.
And a lot like Zenyatta, I'm glad that like the way that I kind of envision Moira now is like I would want Moira and like a Mercy or Lucio on top of that. But I like that. I like that sort of like secondary support. You can just the compositions that you can run through in your brain. I think it's really exciting. I think it's really fun. And I people give a lot of crap to the loot boxes in Overwatch, not necessarily unjustly. I think there are things to complain about there, but it's so cool that this character that everyone's gonna be trying, everyone's gonna be excited about. Like, you don't have to pay for that.
No, you don't have to pay for that.
You don't have to pay for that.
You don't have to use her to level her up to unlock abilities and skill points.
Nope, you just get it.
You just click,
just
play,
collectively,
done.
We're going to all play that character together, try it out, mix things. I think it really it helps the community aspect of it so much, where it's like, oh, well, did you pay for this? Yeah. No, it's like, no, if you care about this game, if you want to play this game, if you already have it, you can try it out. And I do like that. I think that is worth commending.
Everyone gets
Everyone
to look.
Everyone, and you know what? You should just look. You to just boot up.
There were
like,
multiple times where I was just like, oh.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just boot up a custom game and run around. Yeah, absolutely. So I think to wrap this Overwatch conversation up, we're feeling good about the direction they're taking Overwatch. Is that true? I'm not putting words in your mouth there.
100%.
Okay, cool.
From a outsider's perspective.
From an outsider's perspective, yeah. We don't have Brad here. Brad is definitely the most knowledgeable and experienced when it comes to Overwatch. We are just filthy casuals. I think I'm legitimately going to try to make a real effort to get more into it. I do want to main Zenyatta. I do want to level up. I actually want to take a crack at competitive someday, but they've got me in the hook. Yeah. It's a good thing. I would say the next thing that we have both spent a lot of time with as the next biggest thing at BlizzCon 2017 was World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth. Now, I feel this way every single time I play World of Warcraft at BlizzCon. I'm like, oh yeah, MMOs are like the worst thing to play at events. You just get the most... When you're trying to play a bunch of stuff and kind of consume so many things, sitting down and playing an MMO for... I played for about 30 minutes, you played for about 45 minutes. You just get the most surface of level of things. But I would say, personally, that surface level impression that I got from Battle for Azeroth, that first impression, was good. I really liked the area that I was running around in. How did you feel, Michael Huber?
Mixed but positive.
Okay.
But realistic about it. You know, this is a very old game still. Yep. But every time I come back to it with a new expansion, everything feels just a little more punchy, a little more snappy. You know, they refine it. But, you know, like you said earlier, you were still reading quest text logs, you know, and like you go get a quest and it's just this text dump and you're like,
it is.
This is so old.
It is. It's weird to say, but just opening up the quest log, having 3 different things, and just like sitting there, your character's just idling as you're like trying to understand the context of these quests. Yeah. It's like there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Like this is still rooted in a very classic design. And I think the other thing that was tough for me is like you're jumping into this demo and we're at level 110 now. We're going to level 120. I'm like, okay, what do all my talents do? What do all my abilities do? And it's just like when you have an MMO that has been going on as long as this, you just have so much to process. And I know they've repeatedly tried to trim that stuff down, but I think when you're constantly moving forward, like I played a lot of Legion, and it took me a while to be like, oh yeah, this is what my Demon Hunter does.
I was just like, charge, Mortal Strike, Colossus Smash.
Keeping it simple. But despite it being so old, I think in this area,
the Necropolis.
Well,
I want to set the tone. It's like a witch doctor.
Yeah.
There's like a witch doctor, bayou, dead Necropolis vibe.
Yeah.
The sights and sounds are, you know, always better than the last expansion. You know, they're always pumping that up. Like the music was just this. The music in World of Warcraft is always legendary, right? There's, you know, you go in and there's just this big skeletal ghost. Like skeletons are coming out of coffins.
Yep.
So the sights and the sounds on point.
So wait, what race did you pick? Were you dealing with the blood trolls? Because that's what I was doing.
Yeah, blood trolls and like rituals and effigies and
you're touching on exactly what I walked away from is once I kind of got all of that initial like I've been playing this for like more than a decade kind of thing. I was very impressed at the atmosphere that this area conveyed. And I was surprised because, you know, you think about Legion, right? And you think about how demonically focused it was. I felt like what I was dealing with the blood trolls was darker than even the stuff I was dealing with in Legion. Like you were going around and these blood trolls who were trying to prove themselves, they needed to be tortured and they needed to survive that torture. And so you're going up and you're torturing them and they're like, hey, I'm worthy. I can take the pain. You deal with this hexer who is trying to betray you. And like you go up to him and he's like trying to sweet talk you and you feel that you're being manipulated and you have to break free from his bindings. And all of this to me conveyed like, okay, no, like when they say like they're going to create this war between the Alliance and the Horde, you realize that during war, like how much you have to go through and like the kind of people that you necessarily have to recruit in order to win that war. Like, I thought that was effective. I thought that was cool. I was drawn in. We're seeing like the nitty gritty nastiness of dealing with these blood trolls and all of that stuff. And I just was very impressed, and I loved the vibe. I love trolls. But just the design of it all, like I still thought the environment, because of its artistic direction, it looked pretty good. Yeah.
It, like I said, I'm positively mixed,
right?
Because I've come to terms years ago that I'm committed to every expansion until World of Warcraft ends. Period.
Yeah.
Buy the expansion, play for a month at least. I'm committed. I want to be at the end when this ends, because it'll be a legendary moment in my life and probably the gaming world. When World of Warcraft does pull the plug one day, whether that's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like, it's going to be a big deal.
When we're living on a space station.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be extremely excited. One, because it's so old. Gosh, I would really love World of Warcraft 2. I know that's not going to happen for a very long time, but it's like, this is still a very, very old foundation that is hard to be excited for. And it's hard to be excited when there's no end in sight. The road they were going, I had anticipated that they would just come back around and end on Horde versus Alliance, because that's what I've wanted. That's what everyone wants. That is the natural end of things, Horde versus Alliance, to just end it all. Battle for, like, this sounds like it could be the final expansion of World of Warcraft. Battle for Azeroth, Horde vs. Alliance? Yes. But, is this just another chapter in this never-ending war that's just going to go on? Like, is the end of this going to be them coming together to fight something even bigger? And how many times has that happened? So it's hard to be super excited when there's no end in sight.
Yeah, I totally understand that perspective. But there's two things for me. I think World of Warcraft is very easy to write off. And I'm not saying that there aren't complaints to levy at World of Warcraft. There definitely are. But I ended up being very impressed with Legion, and I'm a lot like you.
Legion was great.
Where I'm not around for the long haul with these expansions.
Because Warlords of Draenor was the worst expansion.
There was a lot I liked about Warlords, but I think in the long term, especially the focus,
post-release support was not there.
I feel like when WoW expansions go wrong, it's because they're trying to make it something that it isn't in a weird way. And what I liked about Legion is, it was like, no, we're bringing back these characters that these conflicts that these storylines, like, we're going to resolve this stuff. It felt familiar. It felt like it was reconnecting with itself in a way, and that I really get that sense from Battle for Azeroth, where I understand that you kind of want Horde versus Alliance to be this climactic final battle. I get that, but at the same time, it's like, if you are going to do an expansion, I want that. I want that excitement. I haven't cared about I feel like the game hasn't made me care which faction I'm on since, like, vanilla. And it's like a super meaningful way.
It's been a long time.
And so returning back to that, rekindling those old feelings, that's exciting for me. And if you can make that feel good, I would much rather have that than some, like, oh, well, here's this no-name thing that you have to team up and fight against that you're going to immediately forget about. Like, Horde versus Alliance, I understand. There's a history there. It's meaningful. Capitalize on it.
And enjoy it. For what it is, and don't look ahead in the future. And because that's kind of where I am with WoW.
Yeah.
You've got me, World of Warcraft. I'm committed. I've been playing it for a decade.
But even in this half hour I spent with this Blood Troll area, I was reminded, like, no, they can still make compelling zones. They can still make compelling storylines with these quests. Like, I know it's been going on forever, but I don't think that's a reason to write it off. Like, maybe there's something here.
Definitely.
I think we'd be... Sorry, go ahead.
I just want Warcraft 4.
I want Warcraft 4.
That's the question.
I want Warcraft 3.
That's the question. Does WoW end before we get Warcraft 4? Can they exist together?
I think the idea that we're getting a Warcraft 4, like, I'm not necessarily convinced that we're getting one at all.
So you're
I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up.
But you're kind of in, like, the Valve camp of, like, well, it's not really going to come, probably.
Here's the camp that I'm in. When I see evidence of something that I really want, I cling to it, and that's when I start to get excited.
Okay.
But in a year,
you don't even want to think about it.
In a world where I am drowning, I'm suffocating with game releases. Pining for Warcraft 4 would only hurt me. True. So why succumb to that pain? So I'm really not giving it much thought, honestly. To tell you,
I just feel like now is such a good time to end WoW. Like, they've hit that bubble.
Yeah.
Warlords tanked in terms of subscribers, they don't even give out subscriber numbers anymore. Like, Battle for Azeroth, Horde vs. Alliance, let's end it with a bang, straight into Warcraft 4. Boom.
Maybe they should just hire you and you should steer the Warcraft ship. Like, I'm with you. That's a plan that I would be down on.
You take the World of Warcraft team, you take the StarCraft team, you're like, all right, let's make that Warcraft 4.
You'd make that magic happen. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think it's hard when you look at a lot of Blizzard successes and there's so much like games for service in them.
Yeah.
What would Warcraft 4 look like?
I don't know.
I mean, they're even doing that now with StarCraft 2, you know, free to play, taking a different approach. I feel like I do want to focus this on what we actually experienced, what we got hands-on time with, but I think we'd be remiss not to get your feelings on vanilla servers for World of Warcraft.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Asked the guy if they had them to play. He said he laughed.
Yeah.
I was like, do you have the vanilla servers anywhere?
Yeah.
He's like, ha! That was just to say we're working on it, man. It's a long ways off.
Yeah.
So, whoa. Don't hold your breath for that. That's going to be months.
It's amazing because you see like what everybody is most excited about coming out of BlizzCon, and
that's
the overwhelming answers. It is the top. It's like people are most excited for that. Yeah. And so to me, that puts them in kind of a precarious situation where, let's say you have a bunch of people that flock and you have this really strong, vibrant community for the classic servers. Not that you don't for regular World of Warcraft, but does that divide things in a way that is unhealthy, or is that just kind of giving everybody what they want?
Absolutely, because it's a totally different mindset. You have Battle for Azeroth kind of dragging on this thing that's been going on for so
you're saying it's dragging a corpse?
Not a corpse, but it's time for something new. Like, it's time. I'm sorry, like, this is not a knock to World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft's great. I had so much fun with Legion. It's a great video game. Battle for Azeroth, what I played is great. It's going to be great, but it's old. It's time to move on. So, classic servers, now this is different. This is like you're going back to a retro game.
It is.
This is a moment in time. This is not you're playing an old game. This is like you're playing something retro, like timeless. You're playing a timeless classic.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just a totally different vibe. And I think it could definitely splinter the player base.
How much do you see Michael Huber, investing in it?
See, this is what I was doing so much thinking about this. It's like, I have forgotten how long that grind is to 60.
It's
that
long.
Is so I think vanilla WoW. I think a lot of people have forgotten.
I think a
lot vanilla WoW before anything.
And we're not talking getting raid ready. We're just talking getting to 60.
So
it's a
long.
journey.
Yeah,
it is a journey, which I think is cool, because like getting 60 in WoW, or even just like attempting to get 60 in WoW, was more meaningful to me than getting like 110.
Oh yeah,
by a long stretch.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But
getting 40, dude, getting your mount. Didn't they lower it to like 20 now, your mount? I think vanilla was 40, right?
40. Oh,
have fun with that.
You're like, all right, gotta empty the coffers for this mount. Yeah, it was exciting. It was like the way that it felt like you were actually taking a step up in the world.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you were on a different platform.
Yeah.
Like you're
looking down on people that don't have that.
Right. There is a lot to say. There's a big conversation to have with the vanilla servers. I don't want to get too wrapped into it because we have other things that we did experience that we do want to talk about. And a big thing that I think we can both very much speak on is the dungeons, the adventure, the new way to play Hearthstone in Kobold. I said Kobolds and Caverns on the stream. It's Kobolds and Catacombs.
Phenomenal. This was the most
phenomenal.
Fun.
It is like
the most fun I had.
On every level. It's a great idea. It seems extremely well executed, and it's filling this hole that I need filled in Hearthstone right now. But so the way that the demo worked at BlizzCon is you could pick either a mage, a priest, or a warrior, and you did 3 of the 8 fights. So you're going to do 8 fights in the full thing, and the way that it works is you start with a 10-card deck.
Yeah.
And these bosses that you have, basically these adventure battles, each of them has their own hero power, and it's randomized what you fight. So when I played as a warrior, I fought 3 different bosses than when I played as a mage. Completely different.
That's the thing. There's more than 8.
Yeah. You
fight 8 in a run, but there's way more than 8, so you're going to get a lot of different ones.
Right. And when you beat a boss, so you start with this 10-card deck, you get a small set of cards that you can pick, and you get 3 small sets that you can choose, and it will change how your deck is focused.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a warrior, it's like, no, I want to focus on charge minions.
Yeah, it was like taunt or weapons.
Or charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's really, really fun because on top of that, on top of like this cool, slow deck building, you also get a buff at the beginning of the game. And so like the 2 that I picked, it buffed all my minions, all the minions in my deck by +1/+1.
Yeah.
And that ended up being very, very powerful.
I got a ring. Did you get the ring?
The ring that upgraded the hero power.
Yes.
So you upgrade the hero power and it only costs 1 mana.
Yeah.
And so you have this nice dungeon crawling RPG sense of progression in this card game that I feel like is... I think when we're explaining it, maybe it sounds a little bit more complicated than it is, but as you're going through it, it's so intuitive. So it's satisfying, it's easy to understand, it's quick. It has all of the things that you would want in a Hearthstone mode, I feel like.
Oh my gosh.
How did you feel about the fights themselves?
They were great. You know, starting off easy, I felt like a rat. It was like a 0-10, you know? You can kill it in like 2 turns.
But I like that, you know, the kind of capitalizing on the RPG cliche of fighting rats up front.
Totally.
I thought that was cool.
Then I fought a hero that could create a 1/1 copy of any minion.
Yep.
That thing was pretty tricky because it like threw out a Sylvanas and then made a copy of a 1/1 Sylvanas. I was like, oh no. But I really love this mode. I don't know how it's going to be implemented yet. Do you know the nitty gritty details? Because I would love, Ben. I don't want this to be like an adventure where it's like, okay, you go through it, you win 8, and then that's it. Like, I want it to be like Arena, where you buy in with gold, you win, and then you get a reward.
So I think it's kind of in between what you're saying.
Okay.
Where the idea is, no, play this a bunch, get a lot of it at multiple times.
Yeah.
And I think what it is trying to do, I think Arena, if you're a new player, playing Arena is difficult, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it's an investment, like 150 gold may not sound like a lot, but I think when you're just starting out, you're just trying to get cards. It can be crushing, like going like 0-3 or 1-3, especially when you don't really know how to play super well. So what I think this is a new. It's for people that need a new way to play Hearthstone, like myself, and it's for people like it's free for everybody. It's completely free for everybody.
Okay.
So you can just get in and you start with a small deck, so it's relatively easy to understand your cards. You're playing against the AI, and so I think it's like an olive branch in its own sense. But there's also a reward there. If you beat the 8 boss run with all of the classes, all of them,
so
you get a special unique card back.
Okay.
And so I think it's maybe not as replayable as something like Arena. Like I can imagine once I do it with all the classes, I might get burned out of it.
That's what I want, Ben. I want a single player replayable thing to earn rewards. Like don't
like constantly earn rewards.
Yeah, like I finish a run of 8, I get 50 dust or something.
Right.
Or like I get 20 coin. Like
sure. Something that you can grind out.
Something
that refreshes every week.
Yeah. Something I can grind out where I don't have to face other intimidating real life people. Like, let me just play against a computer.
I totally understand where you're coming from, Michael Huber. Here are the problems that I see. So even as I was going through this 3-boss run, like the AI is still garbage.
Yeah.
Like the Hearthstone Blizzard AI is like still really bad. They were even, I mean, obviously this isn't out yet. Things could change, yada, yada, yada. But like they were making decisions where I'm like, a human player would never do this. Like you are giving me this win.
Yeah.
And that has been traditionally a problem with adventures in the past as well. The other thing is this is coming on top of a huge expansion as well. And so I guess not trying to like be apologetic toward them, but like trying to think about it realistically.
Yeah.
I would love an infinitely refreshable, challenging, engaging single player thing, but I think that would probably have to come at the cost of a brand new expansion.
Yeah.
And so I think getting both of them, getting a lot of cards to play with in all of these other modes, and having this dungeon run that is free for everybody that you can play with all the different classes, and at least get like a fair bit of enjoyment from, even if it doesn't last too long.
For sure.
I think that's pretty good.
Absolutely.
I think that's an expansion that's in a pretty good spot.
Definitely.
Not saying that I don't want that to happen or that they can't make that happen in the future, but I think right now this is pretty good. Like they could have just come out with an expansion. They could have just come out with more cards. They could have done an adventure mode like they did with Knights of the Frozen Throne, but they're doing something different. Yeah. I gotta commend them on it.
Absolutely.
I don't know if the set's gonna be garbage or not. I have no idea. What do you think about these legendary weapons for all the classes?
I've not seen the legendary weapons, man.
Okay.
I've not seen them.
Yeah, I don't want to get the details wrong, but there's like a priest weapon that when you have it, you draw like 3 cards when you have it. And a priest, has never had weapons before.
Yeah.
Mage, outside of Medivh, has never had weapons before. I like it. I like kind of throwing tradition to the wind. I think it could be exciting. I'm a little bit worried. I'm always worried about class identity. Because I've seen Hearthstone muddle with class, like they keep trying to do stuff with rogues and none of it feels quite right. They keep changing the direction of Paladin, and I just, I like it when you're like, I really care about playing Warrior. I like the way the Warrior feels.
Warriors,
keep going with that.
Weapons, nerf fiery war axe, thanks a lot.
Right, yeah. So I hope that by giving all these classes all these weapons that it doesn't blend together too much. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's a silly thing to worry about. We'll see.
But giving everyone one weapon,
that's cool. It could be great, or it could make that flavor even stronger by giving them another tool. I don't know, but I think what they've shown so far with Kobolds and Catacombs, 2 thumbs up for me.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Is there anything that you want to say about the fights, about the dungeons? Anything you want to say about your current feelings on Hearthstone?
It really made me want Rogue Legacy 2. Are we ever going to get Rogue Legacy 2, you think?
I don't know. I loved Rogue Legacy.
I love it.
I obsessively played it when it came out.
Me too.
Consumed it so quickly because I couldn't stop playing it.
Couldn't stop.
Yeah. So
roguelikes
the
destroy
point of
me.
this Blizzard hands-on video is make Rogue Legacy 2.
Yeah.
Last thing that we both played that we want to talk about is Here's the Storm. So focusing on the 2 heroes. You just played Hanzo. I played Hanzo and Alexstrasza a little bit. The feeling that I had, and let me know how you felt, is this is fine. You put Hanzo in Here's the Storm. He's got his scatter shot, which is cool because you have to aim it on an object to get it to scatter. And so there's some skill in that, trying to figure out in the heat of battle the best way to apply that. You've got the charge shot, which slowly gets more range over time, slowly goes in range and power. You have the ult, where it's the twin dragons shooting. And it's like, you put Hanzo in Here's the Storm. This is reasonably fun. But I didn't walk away feeling great about it. I felt even worse about Alexstrasza, actually, because, her being able to transform into a dragon, the cooldown on that is so intense, but I didn't feel like I was that much of a threat when I wasn't a dragon. And so I felt like I was only powerful and really contributing a lot, 15% of the time, 15, 20% of the time. And it's like, that's not where I want to be when I'm playing a hero. I want to have a spot that I'm immediately fulfilling well. I didn't think her heals were great. Her damage wasn't that great. When I was a dragon, it was all good, but that wasn't happening too much. So, I don't know, a little worried about Alexstrasza.
Yeah, and Hanzo felt a little slow for being Hanzo. I would expect him to move a little quicker. The scatter arrows didn't really do much damage. I thought they would shed through creeps maybe, but there's not a lot of utility there.
Yeah.
The tracking dart is insane.
Yes, it is. It is very insane.
That is top tier.
Good point to bring up.
You can shoot an arrow on an enemy hero and it'll track them for it was multiple seconds, 7 seconds or something. Wherever they go, if you shoot it on them. So that was really good for getting map vision. But I felt like when you're Hanzo, you have to commit to a path. So you either really commit to the charge arrow or you commit to the scatter shot because he has the quest.
Yeah.
You start out with the quest and you do a certain thing and it pumps it up for the remainder of the game. So it felt like you kind of had to commit to one or the other.
Yeah, which I think is what they're going for, where it's okay, we're going to give you, with all these characters, there are different paths you can go down.
Yeah.
It's hard to say without playing it extensively, how viable each of those paths is individually. But, just, Hanzo was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't have any major problems with it, but, and I suppose this is kind of an unfair comparison, but I feel like they're adding heroes to Heroes of the Storm all the time. I just logged in last night and I was like, oh man, there's so many. It's overwhelming. And there was nothing about Hanzo or Alexstrasza where I was like, oh man, I've got to play these 2 characters above over everybody else.
Yeah.
It's no, there are already characters that I like that I think are more interesting, more fun than what I see from Hanzo and Alexstrasza.
People love dragons.
Yeah.
People love Hanzo.
But I love Alexstrasza as a character.
Yeah.
I do. I really do. And I just like dragons. I'm just a sucker for dragons. So I think really that's it. But I think overall, I like Heroes of the Storm. When I was reviewing it and then
every time we go back to it.
Every time we go back to it. And we do go back to it sometimes. We get sucked in and we have a great time. That game is really cool and they've made a lot of excellent decisions with it. But I think at BlizzCon, right here, right now, I wanted a little bit more. I guess a point of comparison is, you remember when they announced Cho'Gall, where it's like,
whoa,
Cho'Gall, you've got 2 people controlling the same hero? I ended up like not enjoying it that much, but I appreciated how crazy it was.
Crazy idea.
I never played a MOBA where 2 characters are controlling the same person.
So cool.
And I guess I just wanted a little bit more of that, a little bit more of like, wow, you're really carving out your own space here.
Yeah.
Here's the Storm.
Absolutely. A little safe.
Yeah, a little safe.
Business as usual.
Any other thoughts on Hanzo?
Nope. Okay. I think he can climb on walls, but why you would really need to do that in Hearthstone or Heroes of the Storm, I don't know. Like,
well, it was good. There were moments with Hanzo where I was
running
very close to dying and being able. So Hanzo in Here's the Storm is he can vault over obstacles basically, and there were a couple of times it saved my life.
Cool.
And so I was like, oh, that's cool.
All right.
I like that. Useful trait.
Yeah.
Useful traits are good. The last thing that I want to talk about that I played, 2 things. I played the new StarCraft 2 Commanders, and it's Han, and I forget the name of the other commander. I keep looking it up, and I keep forgetting it. It's H&H. Han and Horner.
Matt Horner.
Han and Horner.
Yep.
So it's 2 individuals that make up the same co-op commander. And I played this co-op mission, and I'm not knowledgeable about StarCraft in any sense of the word, but this might be the most fun I had at BlizzCon. I don't know if it's just because I haven't played any co-op StarCraft 2 before or what, but I thought the commander, the Han and Horner, was a ton of fun, and the design of the mission was you had these hybrid creatures that were being made, and you had to go and you had to destroy these crates to get parts. And once you built up enough parts, you summoned this huge mech that could actually go and take on the hybrid. And so it was this really fun like tension of, I've got to build up my army, I've got to collect these parts, I've got to assault this thing, all while defending my base. And it was just that wonderful RTS feeling of managing so much at once and making crucial decisions in the moment. I thought it was an exceptionally well-designed mission. The abilities that I had from my commander, being able to place mines around the map, being able to do precision strikes, being able to call in this huge fleet, like the hybrid like split itself up into multiple units, and I would like call in this huge strike. It was exciting. It was visually really, really cool. It was just like, man, StarCraft 2 co-op missions, like I can't really speak in depth about it because it's the first time I've experienced it, but that first blush is, this is a ton of fun. Like I felt on every level this was extremely well designed. Yeah,
the reason I never really got into them, I played them a bunch when they first came out. Like Queen of Blades is amazing because you can like call in like Zergs and everything. It's out of control.
Right.
But it just felt like a hamster wheel to nowhere for me.
What do you mean by that?
So like, you do the mission and you beat it, and you level up, and you get stronger, and you get more abilities.
Right.
And then you just do the mission again.
Yeah.
And then you get stronger, and you get more abilities.
Right.
And you just do the mission again. So I was like, the progression was like there, but not. I was like, I love all these missions definitely enough to go through them once or twice.
Right.
But the long-term commitment and progression for me wasn't there.
I totally understand that. Did you play these like pretty early on in their life cycle?
Yeah.
The way that I can see it now is like the missions have different difficulty levels. So you find a mission that you
pump it up.
You can't beat, which is kind of cool. You go and you replay and you get better and you get more abilities. You level up your commander, you get stronger, and you go through and you finally beat that mission. And I get what you're saying with that. Maybe it's not something you can fully commit to. It's not going to be your primary focus, but like just every once in a while, every couple of weeks,
playing with a bud,
with a bud, doing a co-op mission. That sounds right to me. Yeah. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it. I don't know, but
no, I like that. I like it. Sometimes it's good to just simplify it, Ben. Don't overthink it.
Honestly, Huber, it didn't get more complicated to me than this. As I was like, man,
this is awesome.
StarCraft 2 is a lot of fun.
So
like this is really like the units are super cool. These abilities they thought of, the map design, the level design. Like
there's a train one, dude. The train one's out of control.
Well, in this one, a bonus objective, which I love these bonus objectives, is you had to try to destroy 2 trains before they left.
Okay,
and that was really cool.
Nice.
And I also, at the behest of somebody on Twitter, I was like, hey, what do you want me to see at BlizzCon? And I don't have much to say about this, but they were like, hey, check out this like StarCraft remaster at the bar. You can play this special like mode where and on this like special map. And I got there and the person there like was filling in for somebody, so I wasn't sure if it was actually the special mode in the special map. They're like, hey, I don't really know. But I played a StarCraft Remastered. It seemed like standard free-for-all multiplayer on this map where you couldn't get to other enemy bases on land. You had to use like a dropship or you had to use air units to get there. And StarCraft Remastered, all I want to say is StarCraft Remastered seems like an excellent remaster. Like being able to just hit F5 and switch between the two graphic modes.
Yeah.
And for a game that came out in 1998, like originally, how fun and interesting and exciting StarCraft alone is. Like, yes, StarCraft 2 is great, but
Brood War hype.
Just as somebody who doesn't play too many RTSs, figuring out how to get my army into an effective spot, when to expand, like wiping out somebody else's expansion, like it was just like, why am I not more into this? Why am I not spending all my time playing StarCraft? So I had a great time with it. I have StarCraft Remastered. I want to play through it. It seems like they did a great job. I really love the new way that it looks. I don't know if you've seen it.
I love it.
But
I absolutely love it.
I thought it was cool and gave me a really good time. So yeah, thank you for suggesting that. I'm sorry I don't have more to say on it. But
I just really wish they would add twos. Come on, Blizzard.
They don't have twos in there?
No.
What?
It launched just with one-on-one.
What?
Yep. Well, for the like ranked.
Oh, I
and
see.
quick match and ranked. You can do a custom 2-on-2, but like if you want to go on the ladder, like 2-on-2 ladders.
Really?
Like my friend and I
doesn't exist.
Yeah, my friend and I were so excited for it to come out. We wanted to team up 2v2 at Lost Temple, like the good old days. Lost Temple, my favorite map. Not there yet, but it'll come, I think.
Okay.
I asked him about it like a while ago.
Yeah.
And I think it's coming. They're like, yeah, we gotta. Or no, I was reading a forum actually, the Blizzard forums.
Okay.
And a mod came in, and they were like, yeah, we wanted to just make sure.
Right.
One-on-ones are.
Got it. But it's coming.
I think they said it's coming.
And you'll be playing with your friend.
Yes.
When that happens.
2-on-2.
All right.
Love it.
Hubert, we've flirted with StarCraft before. Like I've played with you, try to get me in, but like both this and Overwatch, like I know I want to play everything. I get excited about everything, but I really do. Like these games have meat on their bones, man, that I want to bite into. They really do.
Just being at BlizzCon, I was like,
you could make a case for like StarCraft being like the best thing Blizzard has made, and I haven't even played
to me,
that
Brood
much
War.
of it.
I think Brood War's
pinnacle.
Perfect game.
Yeah.
Flawless.
I really like Warcraft 3, but that's for different like story reasons. Anyway, anything else you want to say about BlizzCon overall? I know
felt
people
good being there, man. It was so friendly. The good vibes were flowing. The Darkmoon Festival, it was out of control. Everyone there was happy. It was just good vibes all around. You know, and like you know, we were saying earlier, we were having a conversation, and it's like it's easy for me to take Blizzard for granted, especially now. You know, I was saying, you know, you look at studios, you look at Naughty Dog, and it's like, all right, we're working on Last of Us. You look at Sony Santa Monica, it's like, we're working on God of War. Blizzard is juggling so many games, you know, and while Overwatch is clearly the focus.
You look at that stage.
You know, whether you love it or hate it, like that's the studio's focus. They're still working on so many other things.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, there's so many people out there watching right now are like, come on, Warcraft 4, come on.
Diablo,
come
which
on,
I know
Diablo
is a big,
4.
But
come
I
on,
at
like,
least appreciate they got out in front of it and said like, hey, Diablo's not going to be there in a major way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's frustrating, sure, like, you know, we said earlier, like, how old World of Warcraft is, how old, like, StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty came out so long ago.
But I think it's easy to forget when you get so familiar with these things that, like, Overwatch
is new. Hearthstone is pretty new.
Think about the audience size of Overwatch. Think about the audience size of Hearthstone. Think about the audience size of World of Warcraft. Even now.
Yeah. And,
like, doing all of those things and maintaining that huge of a player base with multiple games, I think is very tough to do. I do, and I'm not trying to give them credit where credit isn't due, but I honestly feel like that credit is due, and that they are trying different things with all of these games. You may not be on board with all of them, but
they can't make.
They're juggling
5 new games at once.
Right.
Like, we just got Overwatch.
Yeah,
they deserve a little bit of time.
And I know I saw a lot of comments, a lot of people being down on BlizzCon, and I get it.
It felt like an off year to me.
Sure, I understand that. I think 4.5 year, I felt all right.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the state of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Hubert, that ended up being like way longer than I anticipated. But
yeah.
You brought the vibes of BlizzCon with you.
BlizzCon hype.
It's fun.
I watched Rogue and TY.
You have no idea how much
great.
fun it is to talk to this man about video games, and particularly Blizzard video games. So thank you for the enthusiastic conversation, Michael Huber.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
I hope, audience, you enjoyed it.